Good morning, everyone, and welcome to session 1, Fostering Sustainability and Institutional Resilience. I'm Gabriel Gamez, Chief of the Statistical Capacity Management Section at the United Nations Statistics Division, and I'm honored to moderate our discussion today. We meet, and this was already mentioned earlier, at a time when the demand for timely, disaggregated, and high-quality data has never been more urgent for evidence-based policymaking and sustainable development. National statistical systems must be adaptable, trusted, and equipped to deliver these data amid rapidly evolving user needs and technological innovations. In this discussion, session 1, we will delve into how to make capacity development demand-driven, well-coordinated, and sustainable to deliver long-term results and foster genuine institutional resilience. We will examine together how capacity-building activities can effectively respond to emerging data and statistical needs, align with national strategies for the development of statistics, and incorporate broader user requirements across the data ecosystem. Our discussion will highlight mutual accountability mechanisms and robust governance structures that support impactful, efficient initiatives. By addressing strategic and institutional challenges, we aim to identify practical ways of reinforcing national statistical systems and ensuring that investments in capacity translate into sustainable, impactful benefits. Thank you for joining us, and I'm pleased to introduce our distinguished panel of experts, each bringing valuable insights and fostering sustainability and institutional resilience. Let me start with Mrs. Lamyae Benhlima. She heads the unit for methodologies and tools in the Territorial Engineering Division of Morocco's Ministry of National Territory Planning, Land Planning, Housing and City Policy, a state engineer in statistics and applied economics with a PhD in statistics. She applies advanced quantitative methods to optimize public policies for territorial development. Mrs. Piedad Urdinola Contreras is a director of the National Administrative Department of Statistics, DANE, in Colombia. An economist and demographer, she has led pivotal research projects, including Colombia's first longitudinal household survey, and co-founded the Latin America Human Mortality Database. She has also been recognized as a visiting scholar at several renowned universities. And last but not least, Dr. Johannes Jutting is the executive head of Paris 21, hosted at the OECD. There, he leads efforts to improve the use and production of data in low and middle income countries, with a background at the OECD Development Center focusing on employment, social cohesion, and gender. He has been instrumental in developing innovative approaches to effective capacity development. I hope I'm right. I tried to make them a little bit shorter. My idea at the beginning was to organize 2 rounds of questions with an intervention from the room in the middle. But to make the best use of our time, since we are already a little bit late, we will go through all the questions to the panelists and then give you the possibility to make interventions. I hope this is fine with you. And with that, let's move now to the first round of questions that explore the foundational elements of governance, coordination, accountability. We aim to understand how collaborative mechanisms help drive capacity development and enhance decision-making at various levels, building the essential framework on which sustainable institutions rest. And I will start with Piedad. From your experience, which mechanisms are the most effective in ensuring all stakeholders remain accountable so that capacity building efforts achieve their intended outcomes. The floor is yours, Piedad.
Thank you very much, and well, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me here. So, in my experience, one of the most effective mechanisms for ensuring that capacity building efforts achieve their intended outcomes is to involve all stakeholders from the beginning of the process. Ensuring that their priorities and needs are reflected in the design and implementation of projects is key to ensuring the relevance and effectiveness of the initiatives. This includes promoting knowledge exchange and continuous learning, which allows stakeholders and us to adapt to emerging methodologies and technologies, such as the use of administrative data, big data, and advanced analytical tools. Additionally, it is essential to maintain a differential and intersectional approach, which means listening to and considering the needs of diverse user groups, taking into account their specific characteristics, such as gender, ethnicity, or territorial level. This not only ensures that capacity building policies are inclusive, but also fosters greater participation and commitment from involved actors who feel that their voices and specific contexts are considered. This inclusion process strengthens their interests, therefore also encourage them to take an active role in the process, leading to more effective and sustainable outcomes. Just to give you a couple of examples, we have running one census with the largest minority ethnically speaking in Colombia, in the northern part of Colombia. They are called the Wayuu, and they are collecting their data right now at this moment. Another example, we have expanded our National Agricultural Survey to the Amazon forests, and also their ethnicities there are collecting their own data with their own needs and in their own terms. So in terms of accountability, one of our best practices involves strengthening the narrative regarding official statistics, recognizing the key role of co-producers of official statistics, and thus developing outcome-based collaboration agendas with partner institutions. We've noted how the strategy that seeks to enhance the use of administrative records has been a key platform in which, through collaboration agreements, we have managed to include elements associated with capacity development in the partner institution and information exchange. These kinds of partnerships where both parties are held accountable, as well as interinstitutional meetings, provide a suitable framework for accountability to be strengthened. For instance, we have the Vital Statistics Intersectoral Commission that holds 7 institutions. One of them is a private NGO. In this line, we are currently exploring ways to adopt this approach into our relationship with UN agencies in Colombia, where data information and capacity building can go hand by hand to help bridge data gaps. For example, in areas such as border, and manage to jointly respond to data demands. Of course, this is not done out of the blue. So we've understood the requirements for that partnership to shine, such as the inclusion within the UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework, through the output, the strengthening of the national statistical system and territorial statistical information systems that facilitate disaggregated and quality data management. Finally, establishing clear mechanisms for monitoring and participatory evaluation is also crucial for ensuring the ongoing effectiveness of capacity building efforts. These mechanisms should provide continuous feedback and actively involve stakeholders in the process. Accountability must be transparent and the outcome-oriented, allowing stakeholders to remain committed to the objectives while adapting strategies as needs and results evolve. This approach fosters trust, enables real-time adjustments, and ensures that initiatives stay relevant, ultimately leading to better outcomes and long-term sustainability of the capacity-building efforts.
Thank you very much, Piedad for this intervention, and also to highlight how important it is for capacity development to actually include all our stakeholders from the beginning of the process, and not only once we have the data. And this goes also to the data providers, and in particular, of course, the users, since we want to remain user-oriented. Thank you very much. The second question is for Lamyae. What governance and coordination mechanisms have been adopted to strengthen collaboration and data exchange between the Ministry of National Territory Planning, Land Planning, Housing and City Policy, and the High Commission for Planning? In what ways have these mechanisms contributed to capacity development and improved decision-making at both national and local levels? The floor is yours.
Okay.
And you have 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for inviting me to participate at this session. I'm very happy to be with you today. So actually, strengthening institutional collaboration and data exchange between the Ministry of National Territory Planning, Land Planning, Housing and City Policy, and the High Commission of Planning has been a key priority to support evidence-based policy making at both national and local levels. So to achieve this, we have adopted a series of governance and coordination mechanisms aimed at enhancing data accessibility, knowledge sharing, and institutional capacity development. Look, first, the Data for Now initiative led by the High Commission of Planning marks the first concrete step toward establishing a structured partnership between our institutions, recognizing that our ministers operates in diverse fields such as territorial planning, urban development, and housing. We understand that the access to reliable, updated, and relevant data is very important. In response to this need, the initiative focused on capacity building in data production and analysis, with a strong emphasis on developing expertise in constructing and calculating composite indicators. So building on this foundation, ensuring continuous access to high-quality data is essential for guiding urban planning, defining territorial strategies, and promoting sustainable development. So the partnership with the High Commission of Planning has enabled us to bridge the gap between data production and policy making, ensuring that strategical priorities are backed by robust analytical insights. As a result, decision makers have access to comprehensive and reliable data, allowing for more effective and targeted policy interventions. So to further institutionalize this collaboration, we are currently a formal partnership framework. The main objective of this framework is to establish a structured and systematic approach to data exchange, knowledge sharing, and capacity building efforts. So by doing so, we aim to create an environment where expertise is leveraged more effectively, leading to a more sustainable and coordinating use of data across institutions. Ultimately, this initiative fosters a culture of collaboration, ensuring that our governance model remains adaptive, transparent, and data-driven. So beyond the national level coordination, we are also expanding this initiative to local levels through a data collection protocol. This expansion is particularly important because it allows us to address territorial disparities and region-specific data needs. More specifically, this initiative supports the establishment of regional observatories. So by adopting this localized approach, we are not enhancing territorial data governance, but also ensuring that capacity building efforts extend beyond the national level, reinforcing the long-term resilience of institutions in data production and utilization. So to sum up, our approach to governance and coordination is built upon structured collaboration, capacity development, and institutional data exchange. So thanks to the Data for Now initiative and our involving formal partnership framework, we are strengthening evidence-based policy making and reinforcing institutional resilience at both national and local levels. So looking ahead, these efforts will continue to evolve, ensuring that data remains a key driver in shaping effective urban and territorial policies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lamyae. I didn't know that these two interventions were so well aligned, right? When you have explained how important it is, or maybe I knew, but how important it is actually to build up this strategic partnership with all stakeholders. And you have explained actually how you have crafted that in Morocco, right? Also sharing, of course, knowledge and technology, but also going from the national level to the local level. Thank you very much. Now we go to Johannes. reflecting on Paris 21's work, which interventions have proven most successful and which have been less effective regarding regarding sustainability and institutional resilience. What key emerging issues do you see, and how should development partners adapt their interventions accordingly? Thank you.
Well, thank you first of all for 4 questions in 1 question, if I may say. So, but that's really exciting, and thank you for.
You still have 3-4 minutes, right?
I thought I could triple this. No, thank you, Gabriel, for inviting Paris 21 to this session, and thank you for coming. When I joined Paris 21 some 12 or 13 years ago, I was told it's the partnership of capacity development. It's in its very DNA. Paris 21 works, as most of you know, very closely with national statistical offices all over the world, and capacity development is at the heart of our business model. And I really find it exciting that this is on the agenda again, and it will continue to be on the agenda as we go forward. Now, you asked me about success, and then I would step back and say, what could success look like? What would we understand by success, and how can we unpack capacity development? In reality, Paris 21, we have been developing in the 2000s quite some material around capacity development, and for us, it basically means the empowering of national statistical offices and data ecosystem to produce and use data that matters for the data users and to which data users can relate to. I think it's very important to see the dimension of the demand side. Is this data effectively used? Now, when it comes to capacity development, I think it might be useful to distinguish 3 different spheres here. One is the people. So if we want to strengthen the National Statistical Office, let's say of Colombia, we want to strengthen the capacity of the staff of the National Statistical Office. This is one important element. A second important element seems to me the whole organization. So you want to strengthen DANE's capacity to produce and use relevant data across the organization, independently of the people who come and go. And last but not least, I think is the whole institutional environment in which DANE is working. And you gave us a couple of really interesting examples of how we can think about this. Now, if I look back and very critically at our own success and failures at Paris 21, I would say, by and large, it gets more and more difficult if you move from people to organizations to institutions. So I think if you look if I look at the people here and many people with whom I have worked, I think it's just immense. It's very, very good to see of how we increase the human capital, of how many important statisticians are sitting here and how the technical capacity has increased, but also the managerial one. But I have to say, I mean, if we come to the organization, we can see already a couple of challenges here. And then if we come to the institutional sides, it might be even more challenging. But let me be very precise. I think the one very big success we have seen is in strategic planning, is the NSDSs. I think this is really a big success for Paris 21. I can see it all over the world, in Asia, in the Pacific, in Africa, and in Latin America, that the strategic framework of thinking about national policy plans, of thinking about a national statistical plan has been really successful. And I happened to be once myself, just 2 years ago in Senegal, in Dakar. There was a quite interesting event organized by Paris 21 and UN Women and the National Statistical Office around mainstreaming gender data into the NSDS. And I was just, as an observer there, just sitting, and I was really impressed of how many technical people came and had a good discussion of how we could include gender data into the NSDSs of those countries. And now the last point, I know the time is running, but so NSDS is strategic planning, a lot of success. I think where we have been, where we really struggle is on the coordination bit, as well as in countries, so with the different actors that are acting in a country. So, and you mentioned a couple of examples of the challenges that Belize this morning, of how to coordinate as an NSO the different line ministries and other actors, the private sector, civil society, it's already a challenge. But then on top of it, there are all these international organizations. Many come like sort of with very, very good intention. They come also with a mindset of for international monitoring, but in reality this can lead to an overcrowding, it can lead just to too much action on the local ground and maybe to a diversion of resources and attention to what is really mattering to the country. So I think we have to have a really good discussion how to align these local producing of statistics that matter for countries with the international monitoring exercise. And in particular, if we look at 2030 and beyond, we really need to change a little bit the incentive here just to have sort of better coordination for better impact.
Thank you very much, Johannes, for your intervention. I take note of these three levels, the people or the human capacity, the organization and the institutional, and also the NSDS as a powerful tool, actually, potentially a powerful tool for coordination, but that obviously we need still to work maybe a little bit more at country level, but also internationally to make sure that our interventions are well coordinated. Thank you very much. So now we will go directly to the second round of questions that I have prepared without having intervention from the floor, but you will have a little bit more time at the end. So the second round will explore how capacity development can adapt to changing demands, innovative programs, and evolving financial frameworks, focusing on strategies that generate long-term benefits. Maybe we're going to speak again about the NSDSs, right? And I will start again with Piedad. And ask you the following question: how can capacity development initiatives be tailored to respond to rapidly evolving data and statistical needs, especially those arising from diverse data users within the national statistical system and the broader data ecosystem? How should user requirements be integrated into the planning process for capacity development? The floor is yours. Thank you. 3 minutes.
Thank you. Well, first of all, we need to invest, as we have discussed this morning, in infrastructure. Technological infrastructure is key, particularly to guarantee cybersecurity that will leave the public this notion and this capacities built within our institutions. Second, and as Johannes was describing, we need to invest also in what is called soft skills. So the teams and the groups and in general, we of course need highly trained statisticians, economists, engineers, anthropologists, everything, yes, but we also need creativity because we have very limited resources. And the only way to increase creativity is to work with diverse groups. So we need them as diverse as possible, as we have already experienced that in the past. I would also like to emphasize that coordination with users and other stakeholders in our wider data ecosystem is always present in the determination of our priorities when planning statistical developments. This is one of the points that we have worked on and that we see included in many of the international guidelines that guide our work. The most recent example of this is the Medellin Framework for Action on Data for Sustainable Development, in which priority 1.2 explicitly calls us to adapt our ecosystems according to the changing needs of users. In Colombia, we have taken these guidelines and included them in our national statistical plan, as Johannes was mentioning. That's also key to have this strategic planning, and was created as a result of a collaborative process with different actors of our national statistical system, particularly with members of the Technical Advisory Committee of the system, CACEN, where members of each of the specialized thematic committees participated. Our plan includes, among other things, 9 strategies that were developed through a collaborative process involving national public entities, United Nations agencies in Colombia, civil society organizations, and universities. This process provided a platform for these diverse stakeholders to actively shape and validate the priorities for statistical capacity building, ensuring that the strategies give room to a particular need. With these strategies, we want to ensure that our statistical efforts are both responsive and adaptable to emerging challenges and evolving data needs. For example, by including high-impact statistical projects in the NSS in line with our Strategy 1, we seek to combine efforts to formulate, develop, and monitor statistical projects that are highly relevant for the country. This strategy sets criteria aimed at incorporating data users' requirements into capacity development initiatives. Some of the criteria include public policy, ecosystem actors, innovation, interoperability, and coordination bodies. Along the same lines, Strategy 3 focuses on reducing gaps in production, dissemination, and use of statistical information through a territorial approach. We recognize that the statistical capacity is not solely a national concern, but must also be strengthened at the subnational levels. Therefore, we acknowledge that the resilience of capacity-building initiatives depends largely on the development of statistical capacities within regions. Based on the Colombian experience, I believe that the ability to adapt to changing needs must be foreseen from institutional guidelines so that we can generate broad criteria that allow room for the demands of users in our expanded data ecosystems. Likewise, planning should include multi-sectoral bodies that ensure we can have a broad horizon, fostering an environment where the data ecosystem is flexible, inclusive, and responsive to emerging challenges.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Piedad. It was interesting you added on top of human, organizational, and institutional, you also added technical. But you came back saying that technique is good, but without the people, it's nothing, right? So you put again the weight on the people, and this is also what Johannes was insisting, right? Also that the people are core in this evolution. Another point that is also interesting is you mentioned through your strategy also that we should think about what is or could be the role of a national statistical office in 10 or 20 years within the data ecosystem. And if we don't think about that, the capacity development efforts might go into the wrong direction. Let's go now, thank you very much. Let's go now to the second question to Lamyae. How does the Data for Now initiative enhance your institution's capacity and cooperation with external partners? What specific benefits have emerged and how do these compare to previous practices? Looking ahead, what are your expectations for future capacity development efforts to sustain or replicate these outcomes?
So thank you for your question. The Data for Now initiative has played a pivotal role in enhancing institutional capacity and strengthening coordination with external partners. This initiative has not only improved technical expertise and data governance, but has also reinforced collaborative mechanisms that support evidence-based policymaking. So first, one of the key contributions of Data for Now initiative has been its ability to facilitate access to international expertise by introducing innovative technical approach. It has significantly improved our institution's capacity data production and analysis. This has enabled us to adopt global best practice, ensuring that the data we generate is high in quality, comparable, and credible on both national and international levels. So beyond improving technical expertise, the initiative has also reinforced structured collaboration between various stakeholders. By fostering stronger partnership, it has helped to create a more coordinated and efficient approach to national data governance, allowing different entities to work together more effectively. So another important aspect is the training and knowledge transfer components of this initiative. A significant number of officials from all the 12 regions of Morocco representing the strategical and operational departments have been trained, straining internal expertise across institutions. Furthermore, key resources persons have been identified to serve as multipliers, training other teams in indicator calculating and ensuring that the sustainability and dissemination of competencies. So looking at the broader impact, the Data for Now initiative has highlighted the importance of structured capacity building efforts. Additionally, it has marked a significant shift from previous practices. Instead of relying on short-term intervention, the initiative has placed emphasis on structured support mechanism, continuous knowledge transfer, and the institutionalization of data sharing frameworks. Moving forward, it is crucial to institutionalize the lesson learned to ensure that technical expertise and coordination mechanism continues to evolve and expand across different sectors. Capacity building efforts should not remain isolated as a single initiative. Instead, they should be integrated into long-term governance strategies to foster systemic change. Moreover, there is a need to sustain and strengthen international collaboration by continually updating methodologies and integrating advanced technological tools. This will allow for more efficient data production and governance, while also ensuring that institutions remain aligned with global standards and adaptable to emerging data needs. So finally, future capacity building initiatives must remain agile and responsive to national priorities and evolving policies challenges, ensuring that capacity development directly contributes to real-time decision making. So to sum up, I will say that the Data for Now initiative has been instrumental in enhancing technical expertise, improving governance mechanisms, and fostering collaboration with external partners. It has set a precedent for how capacity development efforts should be structured, focusing on long-term impact, sustainable, and integration into institutional framework. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your intervention. What I take from that, everything, but what I take in particular is that if one intervention for a specific need that is not replicable would be technical assistance.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
We want to convert technical assistance into capacity development.
Exactly.
And to convert that into capacity development, this need to be replicable, even maybe in the future without support anymore. And this could be one way of measuring successes. If you are able to replicate something, then you have reinforced your capacities. Thank you very much. And now I go to Johannes, who is Paris 21's insight from the partner report on support to statistics and the clearinghouse for smarter financing for development data. How might the UN Statistical Commission, or not, regularly appraise funding for data and statistics, as well as capacity development to foster sustainability and institutional resilience in a fast-changing data landscape, while strengthening mutual accountability in a systematic and sustained manner?
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to start with saying that that's a wonderful idea to have this reporting now more systematically going forward about capacity development success over the next years, like we had it years ago. So I think this is a very, very sort of important initiative which we would strongly encourage to do. Now, let me just, the context, I think it has been mentioned a couple of times. I wanted to flag just two things about the context which matters for the reporting. First is, and it has been mentioned a couple of times, but I think it's important to single out again, is the funding situation. And we have heard it from Paula from the UK, and this morning for those who have been there at the breakfast meeting of the Swiss delegation, from Toril, from the Norwegian aid agency. It will come to a big change in the availability of funding from development aid. Development aid will significantly be reduced over the next years and will be devoted to other means, most in the European context, for instance, on military spending. That is very, very clear, and I think we are just realizing of how important those changes will be. And now, if you are a development minister and give development aid, there will be even more competition than for those sectors. Will you give that money then to vaccination or to school children or to economic growth project, or will you give it to Paris 21 or any other UN agency or National Statistical Office to produce more data? You make your own call, right? So I think we need to be honest to ourselves, to be very clear about this changing context. It will be dramatically. And the same is for domestic resource mobilization. The public, the debt pressure hasn't been there for a very, very, very long time. If you look at all the debt that has been piled up, I mean, many countries are under very severe constraint. Now, that's one. The second is the other unfortunate development. We often tend to believe that everybody just wants quality information and best statistics and these kind of things, that every of the user wants this. But without going into any detail, there are more and more societies where there is no premium necessarily for the best information. There's simply no premium for this. So I think we have to relate to this as well. And this comes back to your point, Gabriel, what you said. What should be the vision of a new emerging statistical office depends on each society. Each society is different, regardless where you are in your development process and where you live. But overall, I think we should ask those hard questions. We should also be able to turn this more into an opportunity and spend and do much better with less money. And this was, I'm referring here also to the intervention this morning by Toril. We need to focus more on quality. And now I come to the answer to the question. I think we need to, if we report back to the Statistical Commission, is this a bureaucratic exercise where we just list the numbers and we just acknowledge the report, or is it a report that will lead to action? Will it lead to singling out accountability, transparency, where things maybe where we can save money? I think that's the hardcore question we have to ask ourselves. What is the purpose of reporting to the Statistical Commission? Will there be a follow-up? Will there be action taken? Or is it more just taking note? And I think here the clearinghouse, as you have been mentioning it, we have tools. There's one tool, there are many others, but we, together with Open Data Watch and a few others, have set up a clearinghouse that can be directly made to use. We have a press report, we have the Commit to Data initiative, so we have the tools. We just need to be a bit more forceful to use them now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Johannes. Yeah, it's not enough to have a good tool. We have to make decisions based on these tools. And this is what you're saying. If it's only a report that is there for information, it will not help very much. If it's a report that is there to help us to take decisions and take actions, then probably the tool is really what we need and make totally sense. So the question is there. The tool is good, but what we are doing with the tool could be further discussed. Thank you very much for this intervention. Now I will take 2 or 3 in the interest of time, because it's already 11:50, and we should give a handover to the second session in 10 minutes. 2 or 3 intervention from the room. Please, audience. Please take the floor. Introduce yourself so that, because
the High Commission for Planning, Morocco. Just to say that the coordination between the national statistical systems is very challenging. It is true. And how capacity building could really improve this cooperation, this coordination, means that we have to find like a win-win situation. This is, in my the key. For example, when we organize like capacity building programs, like trainings, like workshops, and we experience this. This is very beneficial for at many different levels: harmonization of data, sharing expertise, sharing data, and also setting up some like mechanisms, ad hoc mechanisms or sustainable mechanisms. So this is like an entree. So this is like a good start to strengthen this coordination. We experienced this during many regional frameworks or international frameworks, cooperation frameworks, like Data for Now initiative, like MedStat program, and so on. Our ambition, and this is, in my mind, very worth thinking about, how really to extend even the national and internal program for the National Statistical Office to line ministries and other partners. We could really, with this practice, to strengthen this coordination. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will give the floor back after to the panelists so that they can answer the question or make a statement on these interventions and also you key takeaways from that session. Do we have another organization? Yes, please. And then FAO. Okay, Papa.
Thank you very much. Maybe just a question for pretty much, I think, any of the panelists to weigh in on. We've heard that, I think, some of the biggest news of the week has been the termination of the DHS program. So, and this is going to have a profound impact on our statistical systems, how we monitor the SDGs, where, just maybe a reflection from all of you on how this is going to play out and how we can sustain at least some of the benefits of that data collection program in order to continue with the monitoring of the SDGs. Any of the panelists? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I take one more FAO also was interested in making an intervention, and then after that I give back the floor to the panelists because we're a little bit late. I'm very sorry for that. Please.
Hello. No, thank you. And well, just to say that...
Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sorry. I'm José Roser Moncayo. I am the Chief Statistician of FAO. Okay, just to say that for almost 80 years, FAO has been involved in international statistical capacity development efforts, which we consider to be crucial for ensuring the availability of high-quality statistics for timely and impactful evidence-based decision-making. Our strategy is fully aligned and supportive of the concept of fostering sustainability and institutional resilience. It is based on a set of principles that we follow strictly. These are the principle of fit for purpose, in order to identify actions that are needed for the countries. Second, the principle of knowledge transfer, which is at the heart of the implementation. And lastly, the one of country empowerment, as this is key to promote sustainability of actions. Currently, our strategy includes various capacity development programs that go from the support of establishing functional national statistical systems to conducting census and surveys, and finally producing, disseminating, and using specific data and indicators. For instance, at the first level, we're implementing a program that was actually approved by the Statistical Commission called the Global Strategy to Improve Agricultural and Rural Statistics. And through them, we support countries in the design and implementation of strategic plans for agricultural and rural statistics, which include an in-depth assessment of the key institutional capacity and data gaps faced by the countries and a prioritization of programs and activities to improve national agricultural statistical systems within the national strategies for statistical development. Also through other programs such as the World Census of Agricultural Program or the 50 by 2030 initiative, this last one jointly implemented with the World Bank, we're supporting countries in preparing and mobilizing resources for the conduct of agricultural census and surveys, therefore guaranteeing that countries have the structural and current data available to establish efficient and modern data production systems of agricultural statistics. Our programs include a component of fostering data use. These components intend to build decision-maker capacity and motivation to enhance the use of survey data and sustain the demand for data over time, which is a key necessary condition for the sustainability of data production systems. At the same time, let me mention that institutional resilience and sustainability goes hand in hand with constant innovation and modernization. In this regard, FAO is committed in supporting countries in modernizing their data systems, in particular on the use of alternative data sources in the production of food and agricultural statistics. Now, while FAO believes that its strategy is contributing to build the resilience and sustainability of our partner countries, our main challenge in doing so is to secure the funding required to maintain and expand our inventory of capacity development programs. Donors' funding commitment for statistics are getting scarcer and scarcer, that we have already heard, in a context where the demand for data has never been so high. On this, FAO would like to see a clear call from the Statistical Commission and its members in order to increase investments in statistics and in statistical capacity development. Many thanks.
Thank you very much for your intervention and also proposing a call. Can I go now? Maybe I start with Johannes. Can you just maybe make a short comment on these interventions and then bring us or give us your takeaway from that session? Or takeaways, maybe. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So maybe I organized my thoughts in 3 quick points. I think I didn't want to come as too negative the whole time because I was speaking about less funding and all the challenges, but I think we also have opportunities. And one opportunity, of course, it's in all of our minds, is the artificial intelligence and how this can shape and modernize statistical offices. And the OECD, UNICEF and Paris 21, we have Monday morning an event. There are many other events. So I think we should also look for those opportunities. And there's lots of things on the technology revolution which we can do. There's other work, more and more work also to reach out to user groups. We have been doing quite some work, and now we'll be doing this with countries like Switzerland. It's to talk to parliamentarians. I think that's a group of users we have maybe been a little bit neglected. So we are reaching out in countries and facilitate a dialogue between national statistical offices and parliamentarians. So I just wanted to put this into the perspective of capacity development, also those being open. Now, Papa's question is, of course, the elephant in the room, the very important question, which I don't feel very competent to answer. What my thinking is, we first probably need an inventory on all these different impacts of all the sort of the change in funding that has come across through the decision of dismantling USAID. There will be many other things. There's DHS, but there are so many other direct impacts in countries. So I think it would be good to have an inventory, and then those agencies who are involved in these surveys, that they get quickly together and find and think about how this can be addressed.
We have a session 3 will be on funding. So, I mean, we can continue that discussion there.
Exactly. So I wanted to end on, and that's my 3rd point, again, on the money question. There's also the Financing for Development Conference, as some of you know, and there were already events, there will be more events on this, and this should be part of that conversation as well. This is very, very important, and we should make sure that those points are mentioned in the, maybe not in the outcome document, but in the follow-up, what happens after CV, and how this can be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I will give the floor to Lamyae to give us her thoughts. You are fine? Okay, very good. Then Piedad, your turn.
Well, thank you very much. Well, thanks also for the questions and interventions from the floor. As Johannes was saying, the fact that resources are scarce is something that we have faced in the past as well. So we can take a look at the past experiences and learn from them and see what can we do. But as you also mentioned, Gabriel, we'll discuss that in further depth. And it's definitely is an issue that we have to think about it very carefully and see what to do about it. But as you also mentioned, we have already some capacities that are built, and we can make the most with the least now at this point. That we're really facing hard times. But at the same time, we're also having all these environments on the data production. It's not only NSO producing data these days, it's also other public institutions, academia, citizens, and many, many other institutions, private as well. So we can also take advantage of this new era of statistical production. And once again, just talking to all stakeholders and to all groups could lead us to be more efficient, probably.
Thank you very much. Maybe I can also bring a few takeaways here very, very shortly. I think one point that was quite important here was that we have to think what will be the role or should be or could be the role of national statistical offices within national data ecosystems. I think that's a point that is important because if we want to be sustainable, we have to keep this in mind. Of course, we can also help when there is, or when we have emerging needs for data and statistics. We have situation, can be a natural disaster, it can be a pandemic or something where we need quickly data. That's clear. But we have to go away from technical assistance and go to capacity development, and thinking where the statistical office will be in the future is important. And the other point are these different, let's call them capabilities that we want to give or share or reinforce in national statistical offices if we want them to be the data governance center and the data excellence center beyond just producing official statistics in a country. And I think together here we have identified human, organizational, institutional, technical, and financial. So these elements are probably important elements if we want to make national statistical offices, systems and data ecosystem resilient and agile. Thank you. I would like to thank our panelists for their insightful contribution and all of you, even though we didn't have much time for your active participation. Unfortunately, 1 hour was insufficient, but we knew that to cover all the issues related to capacity development, institutional resilience, and the sustainability of national statistical systems amid digital transformation. We will have also the concluding session where we can bring this back, right? I mean, that's something that is important. However, I hope today's discussion will serve as a springboard for further regional and global initiatives, which will in turn inform next year's report to the Statistical Commission. Thank you very much, and now we move to session number 2. Thank you.